Greetings everyone, Doc Russell here, and in this video I'll give some recommendations and tips for Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, starting with a review of the ability points. First thing is that how effective an ability point is for you depends on your style of play. If you play a very close quarters and in-your-face or warrior type build, then alchemy won't be as vital in most scenarios as, say, combat skills. So let me share my current setup, which is just after completing the game on my first playthrough. I have 41 points spent on combat, 11 ability points spent on signs, no points spent on alchemy, and 3 points spent on general. General is the only category where everything is just one level. You can't do multiple levels of upgrades in these areas like you can for fighting, signs, alchemy, etc. My build for this playthrough was mainly what you'd call a warrior build, with some enhancements also going to signs as well. Frankly, I just never used alchemy all that much, so I didn't really invest any points into that. However, that was also based on my difficulty level was set at normal. So you got the easiest level and then you got normal, both of which will let you replenish your vitality when you meditate. However, the higher the difficulty level, the more alchemy could become useful since you don't get that regeneration of vitality while you meditate. The amount of total upgrades that can be in play depends on your player level, so you may have lots of things unlocked, but at a low level you can only use a few of them at a time. This is where I spent my early ability points in just a few areas so as to max them out and make them more useful. Some of the most useful upgrades I found are Undying, which essentially gives you an instant vitality if you run out. So instead of dying, you get this boost of vitality. Now this is not available until after you've already spent a total of 8 ability points in the combat area. Another good one is Muscle Memory, which increases the damage done by your fast attack. I upgraded this one as one of my first upgrades, and as you can see it has 5 levels to upgrade. So you can do all 5 right away. In fact, you can do 5 of the 8 that you need to go to that next tier just by maxing this one out. A third very useful upgrade is Delusion, which allows you to magically hypnotize someone for a brief period of time and make them do what you want. You will get the option at times when someone is refusing to help to use Delusion, which will make them do whatever you want them to do, such as open a door, or just let you pass, or just leave you alone. Some actions require just level 1 Delusion, and others may require level 2 or 3. 3 is the maximum level. As far as other upgrades go, I didn't find arrow deflection as useful as I thought it would be, but it does have some use, especially early in the game. Good thing is that you can swap what abilities you want to use at any time, so you can use it when in combat and someone is shooting arrows from far away, and then take it off when that's done. Swapping arrow deflection and Delusion are sometimes a common swap that I would do. I never did use a crossbow much, and especially not for high damage, so while I have steady shot, it really didn't seem to make much of a difference. Sun and Stars is useful for higher difficulty levels where meditation does not regenerate your vitality, so just something to keep in mind for those. You may find the cat or griffin or bear school of techniques useful. I have the cat school researched, and I use that as I prefer the light armor. I also found some basic upgrades to Igni and Quen useful, as I found myself using those signs the most, especially in combat. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll notice you cannot equip all of your abilities at one time. The earlier on, you only have very few. The further on you go, the more you can have. So it does help you to maximize or completely max out some of those abilities early on, because hey, if you're only going to have a couple of them, might as well make them get the best bang for the buck. The next topic is on gear, your weapons and armor. There seems to be some misconception about the effectiveness of a set of the same type of gear. In the base game of Witcher 3, there is no special bonus for a full set of all 6 pieces of any type of gear, including the Witcher gear, the cat, the bear, or the griffin. You can upgrade the gear once you have in your possession the scroll that allows the upgrade and the necessary items. Witcher gear sets, such as the cat, griffin, or bear, have 3 upgrades in addition to the base level, so you have a total of 4 levels possible. Gear sets do have a visual theme, but in many cases they're less powerful than other gears. At level 35, I have a collection of just completely unrelated gear that is much stronger than any maxed out Witcher gear set. And since I really don't care about the visual aesthetics of what Geralt looks like, I just equip my gear based on function, not fashion. You can use the gear sets as a collector's item, and earlier in the game, and maybe even midpoints of the game, they may be a good option as far as actually using for offense and defense. But as you progress, you may see that other gear is just far stronger than any Witcher gear or any other specific gear set. Now, let's talk about how to start the game and tips for early on. The first tip was mentioned earlier, and that is to find a few good ability points and max them out so they can become most useful. Also, stash all of your strong gear that you can't use right away so that you have extra room for carrying other things. I made a lot of crowns by picking up everything I could find and selling it to vendors. Since you can only carry a small amount of things earlier in the game, stash anything that's going to be useful later on so that you won't have to buy it again. Regardless of your gameplay style, you'll still use the sword an awful lot, so some early upgrades will be very likely come in very handy. I don't remember the exact number, but I think early on it took 6 or 7 sword swipes to kill a wolf, and by halfway through the game it was just one sword swipe and every wolf would die. Explore the map as soon as you can. If you are a single-digit level, then likely you won't be able to take on everyone that you come across, but you can discover the fast travel markers which may come in much handy later on when you get quests to go far away into those remote locations. I did some exploring early on, and then a lot of it when I was strong enough to take on anything I would come across. The more fast travel markers that you have, the more efficient you can be at warping back and forth to sell that junk. Lastly, I have a mild spoiler that you may have already heard about and probably doesn't happen until somewhere in the area of level 22, maybe a little higher. And a lot of people call this the point of no return. I'm going to show what this looks like and explain the full story about it, so if you want to know nothing more about even the mild spoilers, you can end the video now. Although the game seems to make a big deal about this point of no return, it really only affects certain missions, and if you have done all of the available missions when you do it, it really won't be an issue. After this point, the XP that you earn will go up dramatically, as there are missions that won't take all that long and will easily give you 1000 XP, if not more. The point of no return is when you set sail to the Isle of Mists, and here's what it looks like when I did it. You can see on the map where I was, and what the game will prompt you at this point. After that brief warning, the game continues on like usual. The missions right after this have a lot of cutscenes and very few places to save, so I would strongly recommend not going through the point of no return until you have a few consecutive hours to dedicate to playing. Also, not necessarily a bad idea at this point to sell off any junk and stash anything unnecessary so you can collect as much as possible once going through the point of no return, as well as fully heal up and stock on any consumable potions or bombs. Eventually, you will get to a place where you have some freedom and you can do the missions as you wish, even though Siri or someone else is probably going to be asking for immediate help. You can explore any of the places that need to be visited at this time. And just to circle back, as far as which missions would be negatively impacted by going through the point of no return, that list is a bit too long to go in this YouTube video. There are several websites out there that you can Google and find out which ones they are, but the rule of thumb is just try to complete every side mission and main mission that you can before going through the point of no return. Well, as much as I could probably go on for a few more hours as far as tips and recommendations, I probably need to cut it short for now. So if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, go ahead and leave those in the comments section below. If I need to, I can make more videos and give more advice or elaborate on more specific points as needed. Good day and happy gaming!